It's indeed not the best of time for the Nigerian Army, who, while battling with security threats across the length and breadth of the country, it also has to contend with abuses by its men. Now, the Chief of Civil Military Affairs, Major General Markus Kanye, says the Nigerian Army received and treated more than 500 complaints about human rights violations across the country between 2016 and 2022. Well, up to this moment, that is. Major General Kanye says all the complaints have been investigated, while appropriate sanctions recommended for those found culpable. How does this sit with you, Major General?
Yeah, I think it's talking about the abuse of office by some of the military officers, like we had in the case of that captain who actually stood in the way of the law to release that notorious notorious kidnapper in the north that was incidentally arrested by Abakari and his team. I mean, so those are such cases, and also some instances where some of these military personnel would inflict pains on harmless civilians, and where some of these cases, and even against other military and paramilitary agencies, where you see conflict between the military and the police, military and civil defense, immigration personnel, and so and such. I mean, and such. So these are the kind of cases that they are talking about. Also, I think we have some levied against them by the Amnesty International. I mean, in their handling of Boko Haram suspects and insurgents and what have you. But in those ones, I don't think I want to blame the military, because when some of these characters, some of the insurgents and bandits are using unconventional war tools against the military, I mean, you don't expect them to sit and fold their arms. But by and large, I think, like the general said, there has been a reduction in these cases of abuse that are being reported since they have constantly been training and sensitizing their men against such, especially as it concerns the civil populace. But
if I would compare, your assessment with what the Army is now saying, there has indeed been a reduction in litigation of cases. There's not much on the ground now to establish, the veracity of the Army's claims. Or what do you think?
I think if we are talking of over 6 years, my conclusion very easily is that it is because Nigerians do not know or have decided not to pursue these cases. They don't know how to pursue it, or do not know. Because if you are talking of 506 years, I can assure you that even today, you would have had more than 100 across the country. Because things have changed, I must agree. When you look at the trainings that have gone on and all the rest, things have changed. But have they changed to the extent that in 6 years we are going to have only 500 cases of abuse? I say no. And I'll say that is because people do not know, really, that there are avenues for this. For instance, even as someone who deals with the military, if you ask me now, that what is the short code for the telephone number created by the civil military legal desk,
that is the crux of this agency or this arm,
to report. I can't say it. So a lot of Nigerians won't even know that there is a short code 193 where you can report. So I praise the military for this, and I must say that is really from the bottom of my heart, if that expression is permitted, that there has been this effort which has yielded very serious results, but it is still not enough. We still need to work more on the operatives, especially the men. At the level of the officers, you hardly find so, because they, even before getting into the military, they are already mature, they are stable, and all the rest. But all these younger ones, or most of these younger ones, they are yet to get stable. And that is why you see that even under this department, you have psychologists, sociologists, and all the rest who are dealing with cases brought against the men so that they can stabilize them in terms of behavior, maturity, comportment, and all the rest. But I think what we need to promote as the media is to let Nigerians know that there is an avenue, that even where you are, because it's a 24-hour call center, even while you are being abused, it's just one phone call away. 193.
I would like to take
you. We need that.
Right. Interesting point. I also like to take Majid on that as well, especially when I also remember that this department, the Civil Military Affairs, also said that a substantial amount of this, more than 500 complaints, weren't substantiated. It said it checked all of them. Some were finalized. Some officers were found to have erred indeed, but then there was a chunk, we don't know how many, that had to be dismissed, perhaps due to want of evidence and all that. When you compare that with the suggestion that there may be a lacuna in the level of communication between the military and the civilians, where do you think we can meet somewhere?
Yeah, the office of the Chief of Civil Military Affairs is in Abuja, and where a complainant comes from Igbokoda or Akure, for example, and they said they should come with evidence to Abuja to come and present his evidence. Just like the case of the man that was killed, that was murdered in Ile-Ife. And we are taking the case to Abuja before Falana came in. I mean, see, there are some attempts that frustrate people. From our initial. This is a family that has little or no money to even prosecute this case. Now you want them to be looking for transport money. So I'm just using that Indeed. As an example, where you have to take your evidence to Abuja, and at the end of the day, what do you get? Are you going to get your transport money back, or they will compensate you relative to the abuse you received at the end of the day? And this is a case that might take up to 6 months. So if they fast track and decentralize the process, probably have it in all the states where they have barracks, and not just having that center in Abuja. I mean, the final decision could be taken in Abuja, but they should be able to tackle some of these cases at the level of by decentralizing, so that more people can be aware, and they should also give more publicity and information to the short code, which Dr. mentioned that.
Fair enough. Yeah. We have another caller, Chris from Lagos. Welcome. Carry on, please.
Hi. Good evening.
Good evening. Welcome.
Okay, thank you. I want to comment on this issue of the Nigerian Army probe of 500 petitions. First, let me thank the gentleman on your left, for his comment. And I also want to say that civilians generally, if they have complaints, they should try as much as they can to say it the way it is, because the army in general is a very big organization. So it is not every Tom, Dick, and Harry that just comes up with issues and you expect the army to handle. And there should be proper comportment as well, because the channel of communication, just as we know, has to get to the appropriate authority and at the right time. And if this is not done, of course, whoever that is going to investigate will find it difficult to get all the instruments, all the information, all the materials that they require to, sort whoever that is affected out.
All right.
It's a very big organization. So for us, it is important that we say it and we try as much as we can to say the truth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris. Thank you so much.